And many making their voices heard outside a long-term care home hit incredibly hard by the pandemic. Our Erica Natividad is live in Scarborough tonight with more on this. And Erica, what are people asking for here?
Well, Melissa, protests have been ongoing outside of Tendercare Living Centre here in Scarborough for the past few weeks. Now, there was another one this afternoon. And again, advocates are calling for the Ford government to step in and do something about the situation, not only here, but at long-term care homes across the province. Now, Tendercare Living Centre is dealing with one of the worst COVID-19 outbreaks. And we know today that it has now claimed the lives of 60 residents. And so now calls are growing louder to bring the military in.
Care over profit! Care over profit!
Passionate voices speaking out against what's being called a nightmare situation at Tendercare Living Centre. This just the latest in several protests held in recent weeks as the long-term care home grapples with a COVID-19 outbreak that has now claimed 60 residents. Calvin Luong's 91-year-old mother is a resident at the home. He says she does not have the virus, but he's living in fear for his mother's well-being every day.
My mom fell a couple of times in the last 2 weeks. So every time the phone rang, show that the Tendercare is scared. He told me the same thing. Should I pick it up or not? It wouldn't be any good news.
At the end of December, North York General Hospital temporarily took over management of the home and provided clinical support as staffing levels grew alarmingly thin. Luong says since then, communication to family members has improved.
The North York General, I'm glad that they took over, but it should be sooner. It's got to be sooner.
According to the most recent numbers from the hospital, in addition to the 60 residents who have died, 69 residents currently have the virus. 39 staff members are also COVID-19 positive and are in isolation. But the hospital says staff levels at the home remain above baseline, though more health professionals are being, quote, aggressively recruited.
This LTC sector is broken and it needs to be fixed. Yes. Enough of the Band-Aid solution. Enough of profit over care.
They've been dying over Skype calls. There's been missed times because you only get 15 minutes to spend with your family at end of life. And they're dying alone. There are heroes, and they're being treated like trash.
There are currently 187 long-term care homes in Ontario with an active outbreak. The Ontario Health Coalition, a non-profit that represents healthcare workers and patients, is now calling on the Ontario government to once again bring in the military to assist long-term care homes across the province, saying the case numbers are growing rapidly and the deaths are mounting.
Federal government is always happy to provide support when it is requested by the provincial governments and territories. They will have to ask the federal government.
Now, we did reach out to the Minister of Long-Term Care to ask if the government will be requesting that military assistance. A spokesperson for Minister Fullerton's office did not directly answer that question, though they do say that the infection control and prevention measures are showing some significant improvements. It's also worth noting that in that update from North York General, they said in the 3rd and 4th weeks of December, it appears that COVID-19 transmission was high in the home. And so now is a critical period where they're seeing the cases either resolve or develop complications. But as of right now, they've gone 3 straight days with no new cases.